Hi guys, my name is Anna. Welcome back to the channel. I'm a fantasy writer who sometimes makes videos. The type of video I usually make, as y'all know, is writing vlogs, capturing my writing journey. But if you were to ask me what the number one most popular video I ever made in my 5 years on YouTube, as a tiny writing creator, it is by far and away the video that I did reviewing Dabble. I still to this day get a ton of questions on that video. It's a topic that always comes up in my writing community and Discord. And, we're always swapping ideas about what the best app to use is. I was very, very interested when I was contacted by BYOK, the makers of the Bring Your Own Keyboard device. And you might have seen this company floating around on Instagram last year, I think is where I saw ads for their very successful Kickstarter campaign. So this device is still in the process of being made. It's like a distraction-free writing tool that you can take on the go and whatnot. But while they are working on the BYOK, they have also just launched a whole new writing app. And it's so new. Very excited to be on the cutting edge of this. It is so new. I think the app just launched a couple of weeks ago, and they've asked if I would go in, give it a try, and share my honest impressions and just give an authentic look at what the app is in its first form. And just to be completely 100% clear and transparent, I'm not getting paid whatsoever to do this. I'm just doing it for funsies and because they asked so nicely. So I'm not getting paid. If you use the code that I have for a discount, I don't see any kickback from that. It is just for y'all to use and enjoy. And I thought this was very intriguing. I, went and did a deep dive on their YouTube channel. They had a lot of great videos about the app, and it just really piqued my interest. In the same vein as the device that they're developing, it is meant to be distraction-free, minimal, trying to build tools that adapt to the writer rather than a tool that the writer must adapt to. I'm going to pick up my notepad here because I should talk a little bit more about the app itself. So again, like I said, aiming here for a decluttered, minimal UI. It's brand new, so we might run into some bugs here and there. We're getting a very, very early look here. Right now, it's optimized for desktop, so keep that in mind. As far as the subscription goes, we'll talk about the price at the end when I give my final wrap up. The reason why I test so many different web apps is because I write on a Chromebook, and so I don't have the option of using a piece of software like Scrivener. I have to use something that's browser-based, womp womp, and that usually means paying a subscription fee. So I know a lot of people on the Dabble video had a lot to say about how crappy it is to be in a subscription-based world, and I agree wholeheartedly. But with my main writing device being the Chromebook, that's just where I'm at right now, is using some sort of online writing app. The Scrivener is probably the one to beat. I still think Scrivener has, far and away the best options, the best tools, flexibility, organization, etc., etc. But the online competitors have a lot to offer too. And if you can stomach the price of it, there's a lot to be said for giving them a try. I do see the cons, but it's not going to waylay me from trying out these different programs and trying to find something that just works well for me. That rant aside, eventually the idea is that this app will integrate with the BYOK device once that launches, so you'll be able to port all of your words from that device directly into the app. So I don't know, maybe that's something we could test out in the future if you guys are interested in me trying out distraction-free writing devices like the BYOK or the FreeWrite or AlphaSmart. Let me know and we can definitely do that in the future. I'm sure you're ready for me to just shut up and start looking at the app. So without any further ado, I'm going to kick you over to Professor Anna in StreamYard, and I recorded all of my first impressions. Tried to stay completely off of it until I sat down and recorded myself, making my account and logging in and setting stuff up for the very first time, and just learning about all the different tools that are available.
All right. Welcome everybody to my StreamYard. I thought this was the best way for us to actually start exploring this app. I have purposefully avoided taking a look at this until this moment when we could be here together. There's a plus here for adding a new project. So let's do that. So for today, I'm going to play around with good old project time travel romance. This is an example project that I've used in past videos just to have something for us to play around with. It's an old idea of mine that I had and then just kind of fell out of love with, but I did do an outline of, at least in a very bare bones way. Project TTR. I'm going to make her pink. Okay. Open your drawer with control space or by clicking on it. Okay. Open the create menu to create new or upload existing files. Okay. Very cool. Okay, so in our drawer, we can have a text file, wiki file, note cards, grid outline. Interesting. I'm interested in all of these. Probably text would be the best way. I'm wondering, like, do I make this a chapter? Do I make this a scene? Do I make this the whole manuscript? I'm not sure how the like nesting does or doesn't work. But let's just try, you know, good old chapter 1. Hello. Oh, okay. Double click on the chapter icon, opens it. Okay, okay. Open the text menu. Okay, so here's our text controls. Nice. Okay. Oh, I love the downloading options right there. That's nice. This is me writing in the new. Okay, so that's the default font. But let's just paste in some text. I was pretty zoomed in on my Chrome, so that was part of why it was looking so little. But fixing my, you know, zoom settings changes it to a more wide screen. Okay. All right. That's fine. I like this. Oh, there's tiny pluses and minuses over here. I didn't see that. That's another way to zoom. Let's do an outline, shall we? We'll just title this basic outline. All right, let's see what this is about. Double click. Okay. Is this supposed to be Act 1, 2, 3? I do have my outline that I've made for Project TTR, so we can use that as an example here. I'm just going to start with some beats, opening image. Okay. How do I type? This is making me feel really dumb. Oh no. Hello? Hello. Oh boy. Oh, this is a different. Okay. So, okay. Okay. So this is like header, subheader, bullet. Is that what we're doing? Y'all, I feel really dumb right now. Oh, how did I do that? How did I do? Oh, see the little plus? Okay, okay. Jeez Louise. Okay. Um, Subheader. Okay. Here we go. We're getting somewhere. Chapter 1. Eve and her boyfriend break up. This was going to be like a college romance. Okay, here's my 3. Nice bullet point. Okay. And then I think I'll put in my description here. And again, I'm sure there's like a million different ways you can use this. Not everyone uses beat sheets. You might have a totally different process. And if I actually wrote this novel, I might actually have a completely different process. Who knows if these would actually be like long enough to be whole chapters or if these are just scenes, but that's the kind of thing that I just learned when I'm zero drafting. Cool. I like how clean the UI is. I'll say that. Maybe too minimal, as you can tell, because I kind of struggled to figure out how to how to even use it. It's hard to find the buttons at first, but now that I'm in the loop, now that I'm in the know, I really enjoy this. And it's nice to have everything collapsible. This is very like Notion coded to me. So I know a lot of people love Notion for outlining. It's a great tool, and this is, seems like it has a lot of that same flexibility. Let's look at the note cards. Trying to think of ways I would use this. All right, Act 1. Whoa, interesting. Okay. Oh, love, love. Yeah. I will say right away, I'm so excited to see this. This is a feature that I wish was in Dabble, which is the current writing app that I'm using. Being able to have dual panes and being able to like change the size of those panes. Ah, that's a awesome feature from Scrivener that I miss. So this is very exciting. All right, but let's see what these cards are all about. I already kind of have my outline. You could obviously make your outline in the note card, so you could drag and drop. So maybe that's a little more visual. But I guess maybe actually I'll use it for something different. I'll make it about characters and make it like a little bit of a like story Bible moment. So here is where I would write some basic info about my main character, Eve. I don't have names for anyone else in this fake book. Um, Love interest. Okay, so I just noticed we can use those handy zoom buttons still. So these can get bigger and smaller. Switch. Love. What does this do? Oh, colors. Thank you. Beautiful. Okay, interesting. So if I go back to my chapter 1, okay, so now that I have multiple items, it's letting me have them in 2 panes. That's awesome. Great. Oh, I really like that. I like that. Okay, excellent. Let's make a grid, shall we? I'm very interested in this because I still use Google Sheets and like Excel a lot for writing, and it's also helpful when doing like character arcs and you're trying to track like multiple columns sort of thing. I'm probably more likely to outline in a grid. So let's see how this goes. Once again, I'm presented with something. Okay. All right, let's close the manuscript just for now. Okay, untitled grid. Ooh. Oh, tile. Okay. Insert. Okay. Oh, okay. Um, so let's pretend that I was actually doing my outline here. So I would have one column be the save the cat beats, and I'll. Oop, can I drag you? No? Okay, let's start over, shall we? Let's start in the corner. That should have been my first instinct. Usually my first column is save the cat beats. Theme stated. I like to have the save the cat stuff right up front just to remind me of what I'm supposed to be doing. So I think I need to do some resizing here. Yes, nice. I really like being able to have a multi-column. I don't know why my brain just works better right to left rather than up and down. Like I know I could do all of this in the outline section, but I would probably outline in this, kind of like the J.K. Rowling method. Sorry to speak her name, but having the columns is really helpful. like I probably would go on to do like a header for the A plot, and I would continue writing information down here. I might have a separate column just for the love story progression if I wanted to have like separate notes about the emotional arc and how that was progressing. There's a million different ways you can use this, but I think this probably is like most suited to how I currently outline. We have not explored the wiki. Let's do that. Okay. Okay, so here we are in the wiki. Okay, new category. Let's call this Eve's teachers. So I guess, you're making things that nest inside of each other. Entry, Professor A. This is where I would write information about Professor A. All right. Can insert pictures, which is very cool. I love that. And inserting links. I think those are the two like really crucial things for anything world building or wiki. I think being able to put pictures in is so good. Because we know we all love the Pinterest of it all, right? Art History 104 is a class that she's taking. Takes place at 9:30 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So let's try the wiki of it all. So I've got this highlighted. I like that we can do both external and internal links, but let's try an internal link. Cool. Nice. So just a nice way to navigate across your story Bible. Oh, it opened in a new tab. So let me share this tab. There you go. It opened in a new tab, which is nice. I know folders is probably the main mode of organizing the text. So let's make a couple different text files. Act 1. And then I would put my chapters in here. Very nice. Okay. Nice. Well, it's really simple in a really nice way. I'm kind of excited to use it. I like how clean it is. Yeah, for just a simple, straightforward place to write and store some basic, information seems really nice. I'm really interested in playing around with the grid. This is a feature that Dabble has as well, but it's like connected to the note cards. So whenever you make a square like this, it makes a note card, and that note card is also like assigned to a text file. So everything is all like linked together, which is really cool. But at the same time, I think maybe that's why I have defaulted to just using the Google Sheets because um, I'm messing around and sometimes I don't want it to be connected. And, I've confused myself sometimes doing it in Dabble. And sometimes I really like the visual of just messing around in a Google Sheet when I'm doing an outline. I kind of like that it's distinct and discrete and it's not connected to text files. And also, I think just the star of the show is having the customizable dual screen. This is so great. I'm so pleased with this. I want to look at this toolbar. This is the timer. We can also make the timer invisible while it's going. That's nice because I definitely get into loops of just watching the timer go down. Um, there's a gray bar. Oh, the gray bar is going down. Okay. All right. So, okay. Okay. Or I can hide it. Okay. Nice. That's a nice minimal, visual indicator. Love it. Dark mode. Oh my gosh. That is great. I love dark mode. I kind of exclusively have my dabble in dark mode, and I don't know how to write on a blank white page anymore. Cool. Okay, let's check the word count. I think that's turning that on and off, but I don't know where. Okay, right here at the bottom, we've got our word counter for this text file. But I know the question that immediately comes to mind for me is like, how can I see my total word count of all my manuscript files? Like, is my book at 30K? Am I at 40K? Where am I at? I need a total word count. somewhere. How do I get my things back? I'm really excited to play around with the um, outline tools. The grid is really interesting. The wiki's really interesting. But yeah, those are my first impressions. I'm excited to keep using it this week. I'm working on the end of a novel right now, and I think it would actually be a really fun kick in the pants to just start writing the last little bit in this app. Just to give it kind of a fresh feeling and give me something to be excited about, because being here at the end of this book, man, it is a slog, and I feel like I've been writing this first draft forever. So I think this is a really fun way to switch things up and make it feel different, make it feel new. That's a tactic I use a lot when I'm starting a new draft, when I'm starting a revision. I'll switch to a different writing app just to make it feel different. And to be honest, my zero draft right now is so messy. Messy, messy, messy. My draft is full of files, and there are files that have prose in them and files that are just like brainstorming. And so I'd be really excited to like actually just paste in the prose that I have into BYOK and play around with having just my text files in here and cleaning things up a little bit and giving me a little bit of like a spring cleaning feeling, a fresh new start feeling, even though I'm at the end of a draft. So that's my plan for the week. I will keep you guys updated as I keep using the app and what I think. But I hope you enjoyed my first impressions. It was very fun, very clean, beautiful, and refreshing, in my opinion.
Hello, hello, hello. So we are on day one officially of using the BYOK app. And actually, after I got off StreamYard last night, I went ahead and started working on putting all of my stuff from Hera's book into BYOK. And I just started transferring over all of my Act 1 chapters. And I also started fiddling around with the outline in the grid feature. I have thought a lot about re-outlining this book in between the end of this draft and the next one. I really want to do a more detailed outline, and probably I'm going to experiment with using Katie Tastic's 27 chapter method. And so I kind of started doing that with the grid to try and level up my outline while I was looking at it. And that was awesome. I got sucked into such a hyper focus on this outline last night. I was up until 11 o'clock playing around on the grid. I made a lot of really cool discoveries. And I know this isn't like necessarily anything to do with BYOK. I hopefully would have come to these realizations regardless. But I'm so happy that I spent some time looking at the outline. Particularly at the end. I realized a lot of scenes that I wanted to add to the beginning and middle of the book, and I figured out why the end has felt so blah to me and why I'm not jiving with the end. And I figured out what needs to change in order to make the end more successful and exciting and not drag so much. I think essentially what my problem was is that I had originally basically, without meaning to, my Act 3 had two different final battles, and one after the other. And I realized like what I need to do is nest one inside of the other. So battle A is happening, and then battle B is happening within battle A, if you know what I mean. Next draft Anna will have to sort that all out, but I just love that spending time in my story sparked a lot of really great ideas and realizations last night. And so yeah, I just wanted to share that, and I'm excited to actually write some prose tonight in the text files, because so far I've just been copy pasting stuff in, and I haven't actually like done any of the typey. I'm interested to see how I feel about it, because I noticed when I was pasting stuff in last night that there's no indent, so I can't indent dialogue, and so there's just spaces between dialogue, and I don't know how I feel about that. I'm a little hesitant about how that creates a lot of work on the back end. When you export something out of this, I'm gonna have to put it into something else and format it, as a book. Before, for example, if I were to send it to beta readers, I'd have to export everything from BYOK probably into a Google Doc and then go through and indent everything. And wow, I had to do that actually when I was exporting out of Campfire once. I had to re-indent my whole book. And I never want to do that again. I don't know if it's something that I'm missing. It's something that maybe had to do with me importing something. But I'm going to keep writing with it this week. So we'll figure out, all those little ins and outs of using the app. But yeah, anyway, I had a really great night last night and excited to continue. This is the final battle. This is like a top down of what I'm picturing, where the castle is in like this really tall cliff. But just like 4 snakes, 4 really big serpent legs. And they're
like Squidward.
Oh no. Oh no.
You're fine.
Oh no.
You're fine. It's not like Squidward.
It is like Squidward. Okay, pin in that. Okay, and we're back. I hope you enjoyed watching my week of testing the BYOK app, but I thought we should come back and wrap up and talk about how the week went and just all my initial thoughts on the app. So let's start on the positive. Let's start with the stuff that I love. Far and away, I think you could tell from my first impressions, the thing that I'm the most excited about is the dual pane. That is so clutch. It's something that I really miss from Scrivener when I was able to use it back in the day and have kind of like worked around in my other browser-based apps by like opening 2 tabs. But this is just really much more elegant to have the dual pane functionality just completely built in and being able to shrink and expand the panes. Like it seems like such a small thing, but when you're writing a book, it's actually a huge thing because I don't know about you, but I always have some kind of document of some sort open. I'm never just single painting it, as it were. I haven't seen this in any other online writing app that I can think of. So big gold star for that one. In general, I really vibe with how simple the UI is. I mean, I think maybe a little too minimal at first for a brand new person. As you saw, I kind of struggled a little bit in my first impression, but once I understood how to use the app, it's really seamless and easy and really just clutter free. compared to something like Campfire, which I really just um, find a little too much sometimes. Yeah, that's something that I liked about Dabble compared to Scrivener. Felt like Dabble was a little more minimal in the UI, and BYOK is even more so. So if you like something that's really, really simple and you literally just want a place to write or a place to work on story Bible stuff, BYOK could not get any more simple. It's very straightforward. I like the focus mode. I like the dark mode. The fact that those two things are included is really, really cool. And yeah, I really came around to enjoying the UI. Lastly, just the flexibility of everything became really, really apparent to me. And I love the fact that we have so many different tools, but we're not limited in the way that we can use those tools. I could make, story notes in the wiki feature, or I could make them in note card stacks and group them together by theme. I could make my outline in the outline feature, or I could outline in the note cards or the plot grid if I wanted. uh, like there's a million different ways to use these tools that I'm sure I can't even think of. And every writer would probably use them for different things. And I just love that they're not prescriptive, um, kind of like Campfire is. And I hate to be like hating on Campfire right now, but like all their modules that are used for like hyper specific situations, I find myself really enjoying the flexibility of BYOK more and saying, here's this, little tool and do whatever you want with it. Use it however, would best support you. I could totally see myself using this tool in between drafts, like to organize beta reader feedback, like being able to use that outline tool for beta reader feedback and then just like collapsing all the feedback per person. I do a lot of my world building in between drafts because I am an underwriter. So I could see myself needing to store and make a lot of notes in between drafts. So really, I just really came to see this app less about the text function and more about the tools and how this could just be a really cool toolbox for writers who are needing to store and organize a lot of information, but also who are visual and want visual options for spreading out those, ideas. So I really see it less as like a writing app at this point and more of writing tools, if that makes sense. So I'm interested to see where all of those go in the future. On to the stuff that I missed from my other writing apps. I think the number one thing is definitely a continuous word count. I think if I was writing a whole draft in here, I think that would be one thing that I miss. And you could argue that tracking word count is not helpful and maybe it's not useful to everybody. But for me, I definitely really like knowing, my cumulative manuscript word count just helps me honestly stay motivated to see that number going up is really important to me. And similarly, another thing on word count, I couldn't find a way to do this. Maybe I missed it. But being able to just get a quick word count on selected text, just because I use writing sprints a lot. And of course, it's helpful to know how much did I write in that sprint and just being able to quickly select the words and see how much I wrote. That's one way that I track my writing and again, use as like a motivation tool to keep going. So I would love to see those two things added in the future. Oh, as well as number three, the last thing I'll suggest is the indenting of dialogue or just indents in general. I didn't see that it was an option to change the text style from like a modern web page style to, I guess, what would you call it? Book style. And I was a little worried about how exporting that text would go if there were no indents in the native file. And would that make a lot of work for me in the future? I don't know. Let's take a minute and talk about pricing. So, like I said at the beginning, it is subscription based, like almost all writing apps these days. I think the only one I can think of that is completely free is Wavemaker. There are many, many more out there. I think there's even more than I even know about. It seems like they're springing up everywhere now. I did just roughly click around and compare this to some of the apps that I knew about. I think the price for a brand new writing app that's still new is right. So there is a free version of the BYOK app. And that just gives you access to the text tool. So you can write in the app and it'll store it on the cloud for you. And then if you want to have all the other tools, then the subscription is $6.95 a month. And I thought that was a pretty competitive price. I clicked around to some other writing apps that I knew, and most of them have a free version as well. But to get the same sort of comparable tools in the BYOK app, they were priced at like between $9 and $18 a month. Hopefully, it will be something that you all can afford to check out and play around with for a little while if you would like. And they did kindly give me a code, so you can do that at a deeply discounted price if you want. So if you're going to sign up for a subscription, use the code ANNA40 for 40% off your subscription. And I hope that will allow a lot of you to check out the app and see what you think about it. Did I say everything that I need to say? I think so. Okay, just read my notes. I think we're good. I think that's it. I think that's everything. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my deep dive into this app. And if you like watching me test writing tools or software or courses, let me know, and we can definitely do more of this in the future. But for now, just keep writing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.